What's up, everyone? It's Will. Today I want to do a discussion on the book Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain: How I Went from Gang Member to Multi-Millionaire Entrepreneur. Now, I've seen this book numerous times from different websites and different sources, and it's been on my reading list for a long time, and I finally picked it up, and it is very interesting and well worth the read. Now, I first have to be truly honest with you guys. I don't like, being fake or dishonest. I haven't read this whole thing yet. In fact, I've really just skimmed it and browsed certain aspects of it. And I have read enough to realize that this is well worth the read. And the biggest reason is because this man has literally built himself up to a business that has made tons of money, and then seen that crash to the ground when the 2008-2009 recession came, and then built it up to 10 times what it was already, even though everyone was pissed off at him because he pretty much sold the company for a lot of money for a very high valuation, and then everything tanked, and they were all pissed at him because they invested all this money, which was, I guess, their fault themselves for being so optimistic. But then the recession hit and everything went horribly. He volunteered to work for free pretty much, and he built this thing back up to 10 times, if not more, profit than it was, in terms of how profitable it was before the actual recession occurred. So I just found that so I just find that incredible. And honestly, one thing I do think that you will get from this book that I haven't seen really from any other source is he has these chapters devoted to all the mistakes he's made. And he literally has made millions and lost millions and learned a lot of lessons. And there's this one chapter in particular where he literally goes through in detail all the big mistakes that he made running his thing in order for you to not make them. And there's about 20. Simple things like don't date the wrong women, to more business style stuff like don't be so caught up in your competition, don't focus too much on your competition, don't overestimate your sales projections, don't fire people too fast. And again, a lot of these things, they truly correlate with what I've heard from a lot of other sources. Good to Great is a great book with a lot of scientific analysis and data. And one of the things that book says is like the great companies, as compared to the control companies, the comparison groups, they take their time to hire the right people, the best people, and then they don't fire people when they don't work out. They first see if these people can be transferred to a department or a role that better suits them where they can excel. And honestly, I mean, these points are just gold, and it's just really fascinating. It's stuff like don't do your business where you do business, and that's kind of like a weird statement. He goes into depth about how he started another business after his first one was sold. Don't waste time caring what others think and worrying too much about mistakes, even $1 million ones. And basically, his point was that he was too over competitive, and he cared too much whether people liked him or not. And again, I'm just giving you the quick summations because he goes into depth and gives like the full explanation of the lessons he learned from all this. So why I think this is exceptionally valuable is because it's very, very tough to get access to this type of information. Information where these people have gone through all of the pains and struggles and hit the $1 million mark numerous times and learned these horrible mistakes that have cost them millions of dollars. And I think it's always better to learn from mistakes from other people so you don't have to waste millions of dollars or years or time learning them yourself. You can learn them through these books. Now, I'm definitely going to read a great chunk of this book. Honestly, for me though, I don't think I will read the whole book at least anytime soon because there are more books focused on what I am interested in, and I'm really not looking to start any multi-million-dollar business. But I do think, even though I'm not, I do think there's plenty of advice in here on business that really can be of use for a variety of different aspects of just business knowledge, even if you're not looking to start or create a $1 million business. And I mean, I would say this is really more so a qualitative book. And the most unique thing about this is his whole story and his perspective and the experiences he's had, because he grew up in LA in the heat of gangs, and he had all these experiences that most entrepreneurs don't. This guy carried an AK-47 around constantly, and it protected him from the LA riots and gang fights. And he was arrested over 10 times, sentenced to jail 2 times. Fortunately, it was horrendous, and you really learn a lot. You really learn a lot about experiences and perspectives and things that you should be aware of and prepare yourself for. And he talks about how, like, when you're in jail, the other people in jail will test you to see how tough you are. They will push you to see exactly how tough you are or how wimpy or weak you are. So they will come up to you and steal your milk or take your milk or ask for your milk just to push you and see how you are. And if you give your milk, from then on out, they will know that you're the type of guy where they can take stuff from you. And every day they'll take your milk. And so you see these lessons, and I would probably crumble in those sorts of situations, and where, you know, one could argue fortunate, maybe unfortunate to not have to be in them. Fortunate in the fact that we don't have to go through such tough times, but unfortunate in the fact that we lack that experience and knowledge that may help us in the future. And I think this book does a great job of fixing that for you by actually sharing with you these experiences without you having to go through them. And his whole perspective is that business works in the same way, where people will screw you over, people will stab you in the back, people will take your money, people will test you to see how tough you are and push you and prod you. And it's a really tough guy attitude towards business. And I would say, you know, it's true. Like, people are, you know, people. And therefore, you get nice people and friendly people. You get ethical people, but you also get unethical people. You get people that you think you can trust, but then backstab you. You get people who will steal your money, you know, run away from the business, destroy the business, do unethical, illegal stuff that destroys your business, all sorts of things. And I think it all goes back to Warren Buffett's type of philosophy towards this. And I think it's a philosophy that's and his philosophy is very similar, but it's definitely not as tough, and, you know, and it doesn't have that mindset of, oh, it's a tough world out there. It's more so what Warren Buffett says is that you want to have a business that has a durable competitive advantage with management that's honest, able, and with wonderful management that is honest and ethical. And if you've read anything about Warren Buffett, he's all about ethics and staying and playing center court. And why I think that relates is because he makes it very, very clear that he makes sure that the people he deals with, without a doubt, are honest, ethical, and very trustworthy. And because he takes so much time to do that, a lot of the other stuff take care of themselves. And in the long term, he does well because he's not worried about cheats or frauds or people that do harm. So that's all I gotta say. As always, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.